Tonight is the first and only vice presidential debate. Democratic Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Republican Ohio Senator J.D. Vance will face off. Now, unlike the presidential debates, the mics will not be muted. They'll have 2 minutes each to answer each question. They'll also have 1 minute for rebuttals. They'll get a pen, paper, a water bottle, but no pre-written notes.
Our guy Kyle Clark is here to talk about what we can expect tonight. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting, right? Because it's so difficult for a moment in these presidential debates to really jump out at people. You know, when you think about these debates during history, I mean, think of how many moments you can recall from vice presidential debates. Right, it's the one. It's the "you're no Jack Kennedy," right? Maybe a couple people remember the fly landing on Mike Pence.
I think a lot of people remember that.
Remember that?
I don't know that I remember.
Yeah, fly kept landing on his head.
Oh, okay.
SNL then parodied it.
Yes.
There's just not a lot that breaks through from these events. I will say I'll be watching to see how aggressive the Democrats allow Governor Walz to be, right? Because he can be, right? He got on the ticket because of the way that he was prosecuting the case against Republicans. Do they want that from him tonight, or do they just want a solid defense of Kamala Harris's record and their plans and not make a lot of waves, don't become the star of things? We know what J.D. Vance is going to do, right? He's likely to lean into some of the imaginative storytelling that the Trump campaign has gotten into lately. He, of course, was on the Sunday shows explaining why he's willing to make up stories if that's what it takes to get attention, right? Like they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, that kind of thing. I doubt they're going to repeat that story because it's been so debunked. But I'm curious whether he'll have another one tonight.
Interesting. Now, somebody like you when you moderate, you fact check in real time. Do you know if there will be fact checking in real time tonight?
CBS has indicated that they believe that it is the candidate's opponent's job to fact check.
Okay, a lot of work.
And the other thing that they're going to do, apparently, is that if you watch on CBS, there's going to be a QR code that you can scan to get real-time fact checking as a treat. Not something that will be offered to all of the viewers or the viewers that are watching on 9 News on NBC or on Fox or anywhere else, but as an add-on kind of thing, which I will say that presents a decided advantage for Senator Vance, right? Because he has acknowledged that he's willing to say things that are untrue if it gets attention on something. So it would be as if, like you're going into a football game and one team says, I'm willing to be offsides because that's the only way I can get to the quarterback, and the refs announce ahead of the game, we're not going to whistle offsides in this game. Well, it's open season, baby. So let's see what transpires tonight. Could be interesting. I also think that there's a chance that Margaret Brennan, who is an especially good fact checker, she's very, very good at this on Face the Nation, might not be able to constrain herself from fact checking.
Don't you find it's hard not to?
Absolutely. If somebody told me you have to sit there and listen to obvious lies and you cannot say a word about it, that would be difficult to do, especially if the goal is to facilitate a debate and a conversation. There are some falsehoods that just kind of beg to be challenged. It'll be interesting to see because she's very, very good at it.
Mm-hmm. And these are two, very distinct kind of individual characters, and they do the zingers and weird, and there's couches, and there's all sorts of things. Like, are we going to get just like SNL parodies for days out of this?
I tend to think the Trump campaign would love that, right? Like if this goes off the rails, they would love that. But that's kind of where we started. I don't know that the Harris-Walz campaign wants him in full-on attack mode because, what does demolishing J.D. Vance really get you, right? Like this race is about Donald Trump, which is precisely where the Harris-Walz campaign wants it. So to the extent that we get into some of that back and forth, I think there will be moments of it. I'd be surprised if it's just an unconstrained free-for-all.
So really quickly, who do you think has more to lose tonight?
I think if you look at the state of the race right now, the Trump campaign feels like it has more to lose right now. I think if you look at the way that things are trending, they absolutely do. And so I think commensurate with that, you'll see Vance on the attack tonight. I don't know that he'd be capable of not going on the attack if they told him not to. Walz, I think, could be a different story, likes to throw out the zingers, but if they tell him, stay in your lane, don't make a moment tonight, just tell people what we stand for, I think he probably can do that. I think at the end of the day, these vice presidential debates don't matter a lot, they matter a little, but in a race this close, a little is a lot. Right? Depending on who sees this in Pennsylvania and in Georgia and North Carolina and Michigan, this could matter a lot because we're talking about so few persuadable people left.
That's a good point.
I know.
And should be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for your analysis as always, Kyle. Appreciate you.
And remember, you can watch the vice presidential debate Tonight, right here on 9 News, our coverage will start for you at 6 o'clock.